If your carry-on gets pulled aside for a search on every single trip, that's not bad luck. That's a pattern. And patterns have causes. Once gets to be a coincidence. Twice, maybe an unlucky day at the checkpoint. But 3 trips in a row? 4? At that point, something in your bag, or the way you pack it, is reliably setting off the same alarm bells, over and over, and you're the only one who can't see it. Here's the good news. The reasons bags get flagged are surprisingly consistent, and almost all of them are fixable in about 10 minutes the night before your flight. Today we're going to play detective with your suitcase. We'll walk through the most common reasons a carry-on keeps getting pulled for secondary screening. And, for each one, I'll give you the simple fix that can help your bag glide through next time. Quick note before we start. Because rules in this world shift more often than people realize, screening procedures can vary by airport, by country, and even by the individual officer on duty. So treat everything here as a smart starting point, not a guarantee. And check the official TSA website or your airline before you fly if something matters to your trip. Alright, let's open the bag. The first and probably biggest culprit is something most travelers have never even thought about: packing density. Here's what's actually happening when your bag goes through that machine. The X-ray scanner builds an image of everything inside, and the screening officer has just a few seconds to read that image. If your bag is packed so tightly that items are crushed together, layered on top of each other, wires tangled through clothing, shoes stuffed with chargers, the image becomes a dense, cluttered blob. And when an officer can't clearly identify what they're looking at, they can't simply wave it through. In many cases, the bag gets pulled, not because anything inside is dangerous, but because nothing inside is readable. Think about it from their side of the screen for a second. You're staring at a gray mass with shadows inside shadows. You have seconds to decide. What do? You err on the side of caution. Every time. That's their job. And so the fix isn't packing less, necessarily. It's packing in layers, clothes in one zone, electronics gathered together where they can be seen or pulled out easily, cables coiled and contained instead of snaked through every gap. Some travelers swear by packing cubes for exactly this reason. They create visual separation inside the scan. A bag that reads clearly on the screen tends to move. A bag that reads like a junk drawer tends to stop. It really can be that simple. But density is only the beginning. Because there's one category of item that, more than any other, turns an ordinary bag into a repeat offender. And odds are good you're carrying at least 3 of them right now. Electronics, cables, chargers, power banks, tablets, e-readers, that old phone you keep as a backup. On an X-ray, dense electronics and bundled wires can look ambiguous. And ambiguous is the one thing a checkpoint doesn't tolerate. A tangle of charging cables wrapped around a power bank buried under a sweater. That shape can be hard to interpret, and hard to interpret often means a hand search. There's also the matter of where your electronics sit in the bag. At many US checkpoints, larger electronics like laptops generally need to come out of the bag and go in their own bin, unless you're in a lane with newer scanning technology, or a program like TSA PreCheck. And even then, procedures vary, so it's worth listening to what the officers in your lane are actually saying rather than assuming. If you forget a laptop or a large tablet buried in the middle of your bag, that alone can earn you a secondary search. Not as a punishment, just because they need to see it on its own. The fix here has 2 parts. First, consolidate. Put all your electronics and cords in one pouch or one section of the bag near the top, so they're easy to remove and easy to scan. Second, keep an eye on power banks specifically, under widely followed. Aviation rules, spare lithium batteries and portable chargers generally belong in your carry-on, not your checked bag, and there are usually size limits on how big they can be. Check your airline's policy before you fly, because they don't all draw the line in the same place. A power bank that's within limits and sitting visibly in its own pouch is a very different scanning experience from one wedged between your shoes. Now, you might think liquids would be next on this list. They are. But not in the way you expect, because the travelers who get flagged for liquids usually aren't the ones who forgot the rules. They're the ones who think they followed them. Here's what I mean. Most people know the basic idea behind the liquids rule at US checkpoints. Small containers, all fitting in one modest clear bag, with the standard guidance often described as containers of about 3.4 ounces or less. What trips people up is everything that counts as a liquid that doesn't feel like one. Peanut butter, generally treated as a liquid or gel. Yogurt, creamy cheese spreads, snow globes, believe it or not. That fancy gift jar of jam from your trip. Aerosols, gels, pastes, creams. The category is broader than the word liquid suggests, and that's where so many repeat flags come from. You packed it in good faith. The machine doesn't grade on good faith. And there's a second trap inside this one, the half-empty large bottle. A 12-ounce bottle that only has 2 ounces of lotion left in it. At many checkpoints, what matters is the size printed on the container, not how much is sloshing around inside. People learn that one the hard way, usually while watching a perfectly good bottle go in the bin. The fix? Do a secretly a liquid sweep the night before. Anything spreadable, squeezable, pourable, or scoopable goes through the mental test. Would this splatter if I dropped it? If yes, it probably belongs in your liquids bag or your checked luggage. And if you travel with medically necessary liquids, medications, certain nutritional drinks, things of that nature, those are often handled differently and may be allowed in larger quantities, but you'll typically want to declare them to the officer at the start of screening, rather than hoping they slide by unnoticed. When in doubt, the TSA's own website has a searchable "What can I bring" tool, and your doctor or pharmacist can advise on traveling with medication. Don't take my word as the final word. Take theirs. Stay with me, because the next one is the sneakiest of the whole list. And it's the reason so many grandparents, in particular, get pulled aside on the way home from a visit. Food. Specifically, dense organic food. Here's the part almost nobody knows. On an X-ray image, certain dense organic materials can appear in ways that resemble other things officers are trained to look closely at. A big wedge of cheese, a dense loaf of homemade bread, a brick of chocolate, a container of leftovers lovingly packed by someone who didn't want you flying hungry. None of it is prohibited as solid food, in most cases, but its appearance on the screen can be ambiguous enough that the officer wants a closer look. So the bag comes off the belt, the gloves come on, and 10 minutes later, you're repacking your sweaters while your cheese gets swabbed. If you've ever flown home from the holidays and gotten searched, then flown a normal work trip and sailed through, this might be your whole mystery solved right here. The fix is gentle. You don't have to give up traveling with food. Just make it easy to inspect. Keep food items together near the top of the bag, ideally in their original packaging or a clear container. At some airports, officers may even ask travelers to remove food into a bin during screening, so packing it accessibly saves you the awkward dig. And anything that's more sauce than solid, soups, gravies, that jar of homemade preserves, usually falls under the liquids rules we just talked about. The wet stuff travels better in a checked bag. Now let's talk about something more personal. Because some bags get flagged not for what's in them, but for what they are. If you've been flying with the same carry-on for 15 years, listen closely. Older bags sometimes have features that complicate scanning. Thick padded panels, metal frames, dense reinforced bottoms, layers upon layers of pockets. Every one of those structural elements adds visual noise to the X-ray image. And here's a detail that surprises people. Things forgotten in those pockets are one of the most common reasons for repeat searches. A few coins deep in a side pocket, an old multi-tool from a camping trip years ago, a corkscrew, a forgotten pocket knife, which, by the way, is generally not allowed in carry-ons at US checkpoints at all, and discovering one mid-screening can turn a 2-minute search into a much longer conversation. People genuinely forget these things. The scanner never does. The fix costs nothing. Empty every single pocket of your bag before you pack it. All of them. Turn the small ones inside out. Run your hand along the bottom lining. If the bag has been on even one fishing trip, camping trip, or picnic in its lifetime, assume something is hiding in it until proven otherwise. 5 minutes of pocket archaeology can save you years of mysterious flags. And while we're being honest with each other, there's one more pattern that has nothing to do with any single item. It's the overall philosophy of how you pack. Let me explain, because this is where everything we've covered comes together. Some people pack like they're solving a puzzle. Every cubic inch used, items nested inside items, shoes stuffed with socks, stuffed with chargers, stuffed with jewelry. It feels efficient. It feels clever. And on an X-ray, it can look like chaos. Nested items create overlapping shadows. Overlapping shadows create uncertainty. Uncertainty creates searches. The very skill you're proud of, fitting 10 days of life into one small bag, may be the exact thing flagging you trip after trip. The reframe that helps. Pack for the screener, not just for the suitcase. Imagine the officer looking at your bag in cross-section. Could they tell, roughly, what each region of the bag contains? Clothes here, shoes there, electronics in this pouch, toiletries in that clear bag. You're not just organizing your belongings. You're writing a clear sentence instead of a scribble. Bags that read clearly tend to keep moving. A few smaller patterns deserve a quick mention too, because for some travelers, one of these is the whole answer. Wrapped gifts. At many checkpoints, if officers can't identify what's inside, they may need to unwrap it, so consider gift bags or wrapping at your destination. Large amounts of loose change or keys pooled at the bottom of a bag, creating a dense metallic cluster on the image. Tools. Even small ones have length limits in carry-ons under common guidance, and many aren't allowed at all. And certain sports or hobby equipment that seems harmless in your hands but reads very differently on a screen. If any of those just made you wince in recognition, you may have found your culprit. One thing I want to say plainly, because it matters, none of this is about sneaking anything past anybody. Every fix in this video is about clarity, not concealment. Screening officers are doing a difficult job at speed, and an organized readable bag helps them help you. The traveler who packs clearly isn't gaming the system. They're cooperating with it. And cooperation, in my experience, is the fastest lane there is. There's also a small mindset shift that helps if you do get pulled aside despite doing everything right. Because sometimes you will. Searches can be random. Machines can hiccup. An officer in training might be double-checking more bags that day. If it happens, the calm traveler gets through faster than the frustrated one, every single time. Keep your items consolidated, so repacking is quick. Answer questions simply, and remember that the search itself isn't an accusation. It's a process. The pattern only matters when it repeats, so let's bring it home. If your carry-on has become a frequent flyer, in the secondary screening area, run through this checklist before your next trip. Loosen the density. Pack in readable layers instead of compressed chaos. Gather your electronics into one accessible pouch, and double-check the rules on power banks and laptops with your airline and the TSA's website. Sweep for secret liquids, anything spreadable or squeezable. And remember, the container size is what often counts, not what's left inside. Pack food near the top, solid and visible, and check those dense items like cheese and chocolate that confuse the image. And empty every last pocket of the bag itself, because the most common stowaway is something you forgot you owned. Do those 5 things, and there's a real chance your bad luck quietly disappears. Because it was never luck at all. It was a pattern, and now you can see it. Here's the part that means the most to me. For a lot of travelers, especially those of us who didn't grow up flying every month, that moment of being pulled aside feels embarrassing. Like you did something wrong in front of a crowd. You didn't. You just didn't know what the machine sees. And now you do. Knowledge like this doesn't just save time at the checkpoint. It gives you back the calm that makes travel feel like a pleasure again, instead of a test you might fail. If this solved a mystery you've been carrying around, literally, do me a small favor and share it with the person in your life whose bag always gets searched. We all know one. And if you found this helpful, sticking around for more of these breakdowns is the easiest way to never miss the next one. Speaking of mysteries, here's one worth solving next. The things you should never put in a checked bag. Because while we've been talking about what gets flagged, in a carry-on, there's a whole list of items that quietly go missing, get damaged, or cause problems when they ride underneath the plane. Some of them are probably in your suitcase right now. That one might save you a lot more than 10 minutes at a checkpoint. Safe travels, and may your bag never see the search table again.